Yo, 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 what's good, man? You already know the Heat had cap space, so the Heat took a swing in this free agency on day one, and they come up with two veteran, hard-nosed, hard-working, hustle, do a little bit of everything players, two-way players. Well, I wouldn't consider PJ really two-way, but he contribute on both ends. They got two solid starters right here, Kyle Lowry and PJ Tucker. Kyle Lowry, 2 years removed from a championship, and PJ Tucker, who just won the last championship. The Miami Heat, they just did their thing a little bit right here, but is it enough? Is it enough to win a championship? Right now, if you look at their roster today, you would think that their starting lineup would be Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, and Bam Adebayo. That's a top five-ish starting five in the league. And they got nice depth. They need to try to hold on to as much of this depth that they got. Precious Achua, I think they got Bisjelic back. He a shooter. They got shooting. They look like a more physical version of the Phoenix Suns that we've seen. It's just their problem is size. They still have a size problem. I don't know if they have enough to build that wall for Giannis, but if you look at their starting lineup, they got 4 to 5. They got 4 out of 5 good to elite defenders in that starting lineup. So whoever was to eliminate to the Miami Heat, if that was to happen, it would be a very tough series. And this is arguably the deepest team in the league now. They got Lowry in the signing trade and PJ Tucker. The Milwaukee Bucks didn't want to go into the luxury tax to pay PJ Tucker. Like the same amount he just got from the Miami Heat, the Bucks could have gave him that, but they would have had a $23 million tax on top of it. So it is what it is. I don't think I would have been able to pay $30 million for PJ Tucker myself. And PJ was surprised that the Bucks didn't try harder to bring him back. You know, seeing that you won them a championship, they ain't win in 50 years. So maybe if these two teams meet up in the playoffs, that's an extra chip on PJ Tucker's shoulders. And then the whole Miami Heat got a chip on their shoulders from being swept by the Milwaukee Bucks last year. But if I was to look at this roster right now, this should be a top 5 defensive team right here, man. And they don't really have a lot of elite three-point shooting in that starting lineup, which could be a problem. PJ Tucker, he always demands respect in the corner, even though he's not the same guy he used to be in the corner from Houston. Bam Adebayo, he's been expanding his range, but he's not a guy that's going to be in the perimeter. He needs to be in the paint to get his buckets. Jimmy, he's a mid-ranger. He thrives more in the paint too. Jimmy, he's not a three-point shooter. I think Jimmy averaged like less than 2 attempts a game. Jimmy only shoot three-pointers when it's like winning time, clutch time, or when he just super wide open and he just ain't got no choice but to shoot it. But he's not a three-point shooter like that. And Lowry, I think Lowry is a good 3-point shooter, but he looks a little up and down to me. I don't really know his percentages like that right now. But they brought back and paid Duncan Robinson more money. And that was a good thing they didn't let him walk because he is like really like the only elite 3-point shooter. So you always gonna have space on the floor when he's out there. I don't think the spacing will be too bad for the Miami Heat. And the Miami Heat, they like to swing the ball around until they get an open shot anyway. They play that team basketball, all five people touching it, unless they're running a quick play for Duncan Robinson off a screen for three, or if they trying to draw a foul or some shit. Other than that, pretty much everybody else touched the ball. See, people might not be too high on them because they don't have that bona fide top five player you might need to win a championship. That's what history says. But this team can make the top teams really uncomfortable, man. And they really like one injury away. Like the Bucks, if anybody on that team, if they missing one player, that he could take them out. And to be honest, maybe the Brooklyn Nets, if they was missing one person. See, the Brooklyn Nets, they're not known for being healthy all the time throughout their careers. Check their history. KD and Kyrie. But I don't think it's not all that they need is to bank on the injury, but this is just a real solid team right here. And they could possibly be a top 3 or 4 seed. I expect this team to have home court going into the playoffs next season. And let's see if this grit and grind can get them out of the East because they damn sure they're a contender. I look at them as a top 3 team in the East right now. And anything can happen in the playoffs. And Miami, they got depth. They got real deal depth. And they can bring back Victor Oladipo without going into the luxury tax. I really thought that they was finna get Kawhi Leonard. I thought the Miami Heat, because at first I thought the Heat, everybody thought they was finna get Giannis, but Giannis signed that Supermax, and I knew Kawhi wasn't finna sign his new contract yet. But yeah, and I thought it was all lined up for the Heat because his style of play matched the Heat perfectly. And then I heard about Kawhi and the medical staff, and shit, who don't like the Miami Heat? But yeah, I just wanted to touch on the Miami Heat and give them their props. They made solid moves. They made solid moves.